What's up? How you guys doing? It's Chauncey Palmer. I haven't got a chance to really sit down and talk. The last time was like maybe a couple months ago. So this time today, I'm about to give you guys my top 10 diets and the pros and cons that comes along with all of them. Let's get right to it, and we're gonna keep it quick. Number one is a Mediterranean diet. It focuses on high consumption of veggies and olive oil and moderate consumption of protein, which lowers the risk of having health problems in the future. That being said, let's get into the pros and cons. So we do know already that this does help reduce the chances of getting different types of diseases. Yes. Also, there was a study showing that this actually had an absolute risk reduction of major cardiovascular events such as coronary heart disease to stroke. It prevents cancer, it is good for the planet, and it helps build your memory. So why wouldn't this be first? Let's get into the cons. Okay, you may fall short with iron and nutrients when you do this diet. So you have to be careful with that. Not only that, some of the foods are very pricey. And lastly, it is very time consuming to make the certain meals for this. Into number two, which is the DASH diet, is very underrated. It focuses on eating healthy to lower your blood pressure while emphasizing eating the right portions of food and nutrients. Now let's get into my pros and cons to see why I put at number two. Pros: it lowers blood pressure. I did mention that already. It decreases LDC, which is basically your bad cholesterol and triglycerides. And lastly, most medical institutions do put this in their top 10s, believe it or not. So if you have not heard of it, time to do your research. To the cons, it requires you to have a low intake on salt. When you have a too little intake on salt, it eventually leads up to different health problems such as heart disease and fluid retention. To get a little more into that makes it very hard to maintain. Yes, within 2 weeks you're able to lower your cholesterol and blood pressure, but over time it will take a lot longer for you to actually go through the progress of your weight loss journey. Now let's get into number three. Number three is the flexitarian diet, which encourages you to eat a lot of plant-based foods, but it allows you to have a moderate amount of meats and other animal productions. That being said, let's get into our pros and cons, baby. Okay, so to get into the pros, it allows you to add more plant-based foods without cutting out meats or animal productions fully, like if you was a fully vegan or fully vegetarian. This is really good because you're able to focus on the protein from the plants and not necessarily the protein from the animals. Now, let's get into the cons. Okay, so this will be hard for the daily meat eaters. You have to understand that. It will be challenging, but it is doable. If you cut out the meats, not every day, but put yourself on a schedule, you are able to do it. You cannot have the meat every day. You have to eat it in a moderate fashion. Now, this can potentially increase the risk of having a low iron intake, so you got to be careful for that. For the people that have diabetes, this is also my cons. You have to have additional guidance when you do this. This is very dangerous if you do not have additional guidance. Number four is the Mayo diet. I actually think this is one of the easier ones. It makes you focus on eating tastier nutrition foods and actually just increasing your physical activity. Now let's get into the pros and cons. Pros: it actually emphasizes on eating nutritious foods, which teaches you healthy eating habits and allows you to overall just live a better and healthier lifestyle while being more active than what you were before. It can be very time consuming as well, and it has a restrictive initial phase, which basically means you're cutting out all sugars except for the ones that are in fruits. If you could handle this, try this diet. Number five, are y'all ready for this? The vegan diet. Yes, this is becoming well known and one of the most popular diets out now. It actually excludes all forms of animal exploitation and cruelty, whether it is in food, clothing, or any forms. This is not having anything to do with animals whatsoever if it requires killing them. Now let's get into my pros and cons. Pros: has evidence-based health benefits. It helps the environment and has no animal impact. Lastly, it encourages to, have a nice, healthy, mindful way of eating. Now let's get into the cons. Okay, for the cons, it limits your food choices, which can lead to possible nutrition deficiencies. It does require a lot of diligence. And lastly, gives people an unrealistic expectation of what they can do with this. Again, everybody is different, so just because the other person or the next person did a vegan diet and lost a whole bunch of weight and all this other stuff doesn't mean that you can necessarily do it. Now let's get into number 6. Number 6 is volumetric diet, and I will tell you why this is number 6 for my pros and cons, but this is basically centered around your energy density and your nutrition density. It is nutritionally sound, it's effective, and it includes just exercise and overall healthy living style. Cons, it can be time consuming as well, but there is also a limited amount of information as far as this diet, so the support online is very little. That can mess everything up and how you really understand the process and the phases of this diet. Anyways, let's get into number 7. Number 7, you probably never heard of it. It's the TLC, which is a therapeutic lifestyle changes. It's just one of many other diets that support healthy hearts, you know, lower your cholesterol, help you from getting away from or avoiding heart disease. That's why it's at number 7, because there's many other ones which I've mentioned before that are just overall better, but I'll show you why in these pros and cons. It supports healthy lifestyle habits and healthy eating habits, and it's sustainable. That's as much as it gets to me personally. That's why I put it at number 7, and you know, that's really about it. It's not accommodating to your dietary restrictions. The calorie number, if you're trying to have weight loss, is very low, so it is very hard to achieve and could bring a lot of health issues. The information is most likely outdated and it requires diligent tracking as well. The outdated part is the main reason why I put at number 7. Nobody does it. My number 8 is the Nordic diet. It is, you know, it's low on sugars. It's very similar to the Mediterranean diet, but the only thing is I just think this is a less effective, and I'm gonna get to that in the pros and cons. Alright, for the pros, it is nutritious. It may be or might have health benefits. There's not a lot of research done, which is kind of, you know, for a pro to be a pro, you should have more information than maybe, so that could be a con to the keyword maybe. And last one, it's sustainable and it also helps the environment. Now let's get into the cons. For the cons, it is very expensive. You know, it's like the Mediterranean diet, very expensive, might be even more expensive, and again, time consuming. For this diet specifically, it's not worth it, honestly. But let's get into 9 and 10. You guys are gonna be surprised on what I got for 9 and 10. Number 9 is the Ornish diet. You know what they say with the Ornish diet, it's to help you live longer, live healthier, feel better. And let's see why I put it at number 9. For the pros, they do live up to what they say, and they do help reduce or prevent heart disease, and they allow you to have more food per calorie, and that is more than any other diets. Now let's get into why I put at number 9 for the cons. Cons, it may be difficult for many people, and over time it is very difficult to maintain. You need a diet that you can maintain for a long period of time. This one is not it. Now let's go to 10. You guys are gonna be shocked at what I put at number 10. Number 10 is the ketogenic diet. Yes, the keto diet. It's low carbs, high fats. Let's get into pros and cons, and let's see why I put this at number 10. Okay, so here are the pros. You know, weight loss, no more low fat, and then health benefits for specific people, keyword specific. This does not work for everybody. You guys gotta understand that, and that could be a con as well. But I'm gonna get to my cons in a minute. I just wanted to let you guys know, yes, this does show results. I hear it all the time. But what happens in the process or later in the future, that's what makes this number 10. So we're gonna go to the cons. I'm gonna just read down this list I wrote. There are just so many, so I'm gonna just go down the list and talk about each one here and there. We got renal risk, bad fasting practice, which is increasing the chances of cardiovascular diseases. We have diets that already avoid that, so why would you go to this one that increases the chances? We got food obsessions, digestive troubles, eating too many saturated fats, which again would go for the bad fats. Difficult to sustain. After a while, it will be difficult, especially when you're having the digestive troubles. You got nutrient deficiencies. Some of the other diets did have that as well. The keto flu. Some of you guys might have never heard of the keto flu, which is basically saying like, you know, hunger, headaches, fatigue, brain fog, you're agitated, all that other stuff, and adherence. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, that was my top 10. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Stay blessed, and hope you guys have a nice, beautiful day. And let me know if you want part 2. I got a whole list.